Greetings, my name is Danielle Palli, and today I'd like to talk about the MBTI or Myers-Briggs personality types. Now, very briefly, this comes out of more than 100 years of research that began with Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung and has been developed over time. And the idea is that we each fit into one of 16 major personality groups, and this is what drives our preferences in life, how we view the world and interact with the world. I found it to be an incredibly helpful tool. I love it. I've since come to realize that not everyone shares the love. So today is not about convincing anyone one way or the other, but it's to kind of give a little more of a background and the facts so that you can make a decision whether this is something that you would like to learn more about. Now, at a very basic level, the Myers-Briggs personality types look at 4 areas: introversion and extroversion, sensing and intuition, thinking and feeling, and perceiving and judging. So what does that mean? Introverted, extroverted. Do you gain energy from your internal world when you're stressed, so you like to maybe be alone? Or are you extroverted? Do you get re-energized by being outwardly focused with what's happening in the world? Sensing, intuition. Are you just the facts? This has worked before, so this is what I'm going to do now. Or are you more of the intuitive, well, what would happen if we did it this way? What could the possibilities be? The thinking, feeling. Do you lead with, okay, this logical choice is what's best for the group. Let's start there. Or are you looking at the person who's suffering and saying, oh man, just give me a hug. I want you to feel better. Perceiving, judging. Do you like to have a loose structure and then be able to ebb and flow and change as needed? Or do you like it when you're deadline driven? This is step A, B, C. This is what we're going to do to complete a project. These are broad generalizations. We all have all of these functions. It's just what we prefer and to what degree we prefer them. Because even within those 16 personalities, there are so many nuances because we're not static individuals. We're different, we're changing, we're growing, and we're all based on our environments and upbringings and thought processes and all that stuff. So the good in learning the Myers-Briggs personality types and learning what your type is it can help you navigate when you're stressed, knowing that, hey, when I'm stressed out, I prefer to be alone and go for a walk in the woods. Or, hey, I'm stressed after a long work day, so I'm going to go out with my friends dancing and listen to loud music and really feel re-energized. Everybody's different. So it helps you understand your home environment, what brings you peace. It helps you understand career choices, what type of work, how you like to do it, how you like to prioritize your day. And it can influence how you work with team members who might be of different types so that you can understand each other and collaborate better. So it helps you develop empathy and understanding for other people. So in short, it is helping understand yourself, how you view the world, helping you understand others to create meaningful relationships and a better life for yourself. The downside. The biggest downside that I have seen so far is the tendency to label. I am this personality type, therefore this is just the way I am. So in the example of an introvert or an extrovert, if somebody's severely introverted and shy and maybe has some social anxiety, saying this is the way I am, so I'm not going to change, I'm just going to go over here and be alone. You're not growing as a person. So using that as an excuse any more than, say, a thinking person who is coming across as insensitive, well, that's just the way I am. No, we're humans. We can learn and grow. So this is not meant to stick a label on somebody and say, you cannot change. This is what you are. And to that end, there are many people who are on the cusp, right? They might consider themselves an ambivert between one way of doing things or another. According to Myers-Briggs, you have one preference. This is your cognitive function, so you can't be a 50-50 split. myself and many other people have felt differently. And at the end of the day, you decide, number one, what your best fit is. Myers-Briggs will say that that personality does not change. I've heard from a number of people saying, I feel like my personality has changed, whereas MBTI might say, no, maybe in the younger years, it just wasn't fully formed. And now that you've stepped into your preferences and honored what you like, now you know who you are. I'm not going to argue one way or the other. It's up for you to decide. The best that I can tell you is, with all things, take what works for you and discard the rest. So I find this a useful tool, say, in a work environment. And I can give an example. If you're in a team meeting where you have to get a project done, and one person really needs to brainstorm and think of every potential outcome before making a decision, and someone else is very time driven, they're like, okay, at the end of this call or meeting, I need to know exactly what the next steps are, when they're due, and if I don't know that, I'm going to be stressed. So these two conflicting types might be stressing each other out. And it could be something as simple as learning to give the person who needs to brainstorm the time to think. And toward the end of the meeting saying, okay, before we wrap up, I need next steps, and learn how to collaborate. To that end, I also want to say that the MBTI should never be used for the hiring process. That is not how it is intended to be used. It is intended for personal growth and to learn how to interact with others better. So, with all that said, there's the good, there's the not so good. You can choose for yourself. I find it to be an incredibly helpful tool. So if it's something that you'd like to pursue, rather than go online and take a quiz and they'll spit out an answer, if we work together, there is an assessment. And there's usually 2 coaching sessions. And in those sessions, you decide what your best fit type is. So that's the other big thing about going through the process to figure out your type, is really learning who you are. And the good thing is, when you go through the coaching and you look at all of the elements, you decide your best fit and how you're going to use these tools going forward. If this is of interest to you, my website is below. Reach out so we can have a conversation. Thanks for joining me.